I chucked the hat on because it's a hot one today. But I'm still getting my steps in. It's very sunny, it's beautiful. The only problem is, with the rain and then the sun and the beautiful days, the grass likes to come out. And these mowers keep falling apart on me, honestly, it's insane. Anyway, so I called the dude this morning about our driveway because it's just doing my head in. Honestly, these were shorter than me. I don't know if I vlogged this or not. These were shorter than me not long ago. Now they're taller. I smell fire. I know it's usually a dangerous thing, but oh, that's gum. No. Is it? No. Not gum, sorry, ironbark. That's ironbark. I was like, that's not gum. I know what gum smells like. Why did I say gum? It's ironbark. Speaking of ironbark, this is ironbark. This stuff, man, this stuff bluntens chainsaws. It's got beautiful bark though. Look at it, and got these little tiny holes you can see. Don't know what they're there for, but they're there. Did I accidentally flip around the camera? Yeah, I did. Anyway, there's the fire. They're burning something over in the yard next door. I hope. Yeah. Yeah, no, there's a dude there. It's all good. There's a dude with a rake and he's burning off on a beautiful day like today. Anyway, so I'm feeling pretty good. I completed yesterday my 3-day fast, which was good. I haven't done one of those since successfully, since 2019. 2019 was also the year that I lost 40 kilos in about 5 months, I think it was. I was getting really healthy, really clean. The only problem is I sort of was just didn't really understand fully about like reactive nutrition. So generally speaking, when I was eating well, this is when I was vegan. So it was eating clean. I know there's downsides to veganism and that's all good, but what I was eating was clean at the beginning. That's how I lost all the weight. And that was what was getting me excited, was just I'm losing weight, I'm feeling good. But then anybody who's been vegan for an extended period of time will know that a year or two onwards, your energy starts to slip and you start to struggle. Anyway, so that's what I'm doing differently this time. I'm learning. I've gone back to eating meat and animal product, obviously, and for a little while there I went too far the other way, where I was going nothing but meat every day, which again has its own pros and cons. So now I'm sort of targeting the specific food groups for different organ health, responding to blood test results. I'm loving it, man. I'm learning so much. It's so much fun. Anyway, it's good. It feels good to put my health first. I haven't put my health... look, I've always been the kind of guy that put work and success and progress and all this first. And it's, I look back, everyone's doing the 2016 thing, apparently. There's like a 2016 trend or something where you post photos from 2016. And I look back to who I was in 2016. Let's think. 2015, I had just completed my IT traineeship. And then I did the first quarter in 2016. So I'd still, this time 10 years ago, I'd still be working at that high school. Not my high school, just the high school that I worked at. I got the traineeship after I did finish high school. And then in March, I think it was, or April, I started working for an education company, a lot closer to where I was living out at Dad's place then, as their IT guy. So, it's crazy. It's just crazy. Time flies. I just got out of a relationship that didn't go too well in 2015. I think it was September 2015 we split up. And I just decided, you know what? I'm wasting my time trying to find someone. I'm just going to focus on me for a bit. And don't get me wrong, I stand by some of that. I think learning who you are before you are looking for a long-term relationship is so critical. So it's very windy for that fire. I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm sure he knows what he's doing. Yeah, you got to know who you are. You've got to bring something to the table. If you're looking for somebody valuable, what are you going to offer? Who are you to demand that person's time and attention and commitment? You know what I mean? Like, you've got to know who you are. You've got to bring you. You've got to be able to sell, essentially, you. So I spent 5 years after that relationship split up just learning who I was, like in a real sense. I think from memory it was 2016. Yeah, it was. Wow. I think 2015 or 16 was the year that I decided, you know what? And yeah, it was after, actually, it was the end of 2015 because it was just after that relationship broke up. I thought, you know what? I'm going to have a year without God. I hear that a lot of people do that and they come out closer and knowing essentially like what they're missing out on. And that was when that whole thing started. Gee, what's happened in 10 years? Found my beautiful wife. We've bought, this property. I've started and failed many business ventures. I've landed my dream job essentially. I lost a decent amount of weight and got healthy-ish, and then put it all back on. But it's interesting. It's just so fascinating looking back and going, what was life back then? For me, it was all, Microsoft. Everything was always focused around Microsoft. I was only just starting to dabble in Salesforce 10 years ago. Wow. Time flies. Time flies. And now look what's happened in Korea, Actually, 2017 was when when I grew up, we had a beautiful golden retriever named Cindy. Beautiful dog, absolutely beautiful dog. Gorgeous nature. Anyway, when mum and dad split, she went with dad. And dad had a little bit of property then too, so it was good for her. But it was in 2017, early 2017. I just moved to Melbourne. I think it was March that year I moved to Melbourne. And then June, July, I think, I got a call from Dad telling me that Cindy had cancer. Dude, it was devastating. And I felt so bad, I moved to Melbourne wanting to do things with my life. I moved to Melbourne to spend some time with Nana, which I don't regret at all. And I just had this sense of guilt. Like, I wouldn't have been able to stop her getting cancer, but like her last year, I'm not going to be there. I'll be there occasionally, but I'm not going to be there. Yeah. Wild. And then she died they put her down because the pain was getting pretty bad in October. And then 2018, I spent my time in Melbourne, moved back up, and on the way up is when I picked up Luna. So I knew I was moving back to Brisbane, and I had to go to Sydney for a work thing. It was my first time in Sydney. I'd never been to Sydney before up until that point. And I remember I was sitting, we'd had work meetings, we went out for a work event, I came back, and I was in a hotel or motel or whatever it was, accommodation in Darlinghurst. And I was sitting in a bath, scrolling Pet Rescue. I did that a bit because I just, I always loved animals. That's when I came across Luna's little face and her story. She was a very, very cute puppy. She's still a very cute puppy. Hey Luna, you're very cute. I love you. Good girl, hi. You coming to say hi? Hi. Hello. You're a beautiful girl. Yeah, so it was May, I think, 2018, something like that. But I moved back to Brisbane and Luna was Luna was somewhere in New South Wales. So I picked her up, and then we moved back. And the house I moved into was just affordable. Like, just poorly maintained, I learned after the fact. I signed the lease, and about 3 weeks in, it was a double-story house where, like, the bottom was, like, you know, storage. One of those old-school double-story Queenslanders, I suppose. And the ceiling downstairs came down about 3 weeks in. And I had to... The reason the ceiling came down is because I noticed a bit of water in the ceiling. So, not good. The water bulge got bigger and bigger. I reported it to the real estate, who obviously did nothing. Anyway, so I finally got a plumber over. And he goes, oh, he looks at it, he goes, it's the exact same thing as last time. I was like, what do you mean last time? He goes, I was here like, remember I was here 6 months ago. I was like, I only just moved in. He goes, oh, seriously? He goes, for transparency, he points me over to the other side of the ceiling. He goes, I was here 6 months ago when the exact same thing happened over there. Something about them using, you know, the plastic tubing with metal clamps, and it was rubbing and eventually split the water. And they were warned and did nothing, and then 6 months later, it happened again. So, anyway, here's what it is. So many stories over the last 10 years. Life is beautiful. Life is great. Life has its ups and downs, but ultimately, you've got to see through the downs to the next up. You know what I mean? Like, this walking can get very, very boring. I love my property and I love smelling this. I do love that smell of burning timber. It's beautiful. It's definitely ironbark. But the downside is, like, I'm just tired. It takes a lot of time, takes a lot of energy. I know it's good, but I'm tired. I gotta start work in 5 minutes. So I'll probably wrap up in a second. Been yapping for 12 and a half. Life's a funny thing. Life is a funny thing. I was driving I had a loan, which I may have been close to paying off actually, but I was driving a 2007 Mazda 6. It was red. I remember that. I drove that thing down to Melbourne. Gee. It was just before I moved. Actually, hang on, that was 2017. So 2016, wow. 2016, I would have still been driving, my first car. It was called Gavin. And it was a 1989 Toyota Camry station wagon that had a leaky gas conversion. Oh, what a car. What a car. I learned all sorts in that car. I learned how to handbrake, skid. I learned that if you take a roundabout way too quickly, but you do it sideways, that you'll be okay because it just knocks the sign down. I was a terrible driver 10 years ago. Really, really bad. Anyway, such is life. You grow up, you get older, you get wiser, you get more boring. But then at the same time, you get a little bit less boring. Because instead of handbrake skidding into roundabouts, what do I do now? So we harvested the grapes from that vine there. And last year when we did that, most of them went to waste. We just couldn't keep up. Got sick of eating grapes. And they all just, because they all turn good at the same time. Which means they all turn bad at the same time. We've still got a couple actually. I'm just having a quick look. Look out for snakes. Yeah, there's still a couple at the top getting a bit of sun. Don't know how long. There's like next to none left though. But anyway, harvested them all the other day. And for a long time, I've wanted to learn how to make my own. Everything is my goal, but wine. So I did a bit of Googling, watched a couple of YouTube videos, read a couple of blog posts, all this sort of thing. And now I'm brewing my own wine, or fermenting, I don't know what the term is, making. Which I don't think Hannah pointed out, actually. She pointed out that I haven't showed you yet. So, I'm going to show you real quick. Show you the red wine. So all I did was I mashed up the grapes, put them in this bucket, and then every, how's this coming? I'll give her a sec. Every couple of hours or so in the first week, I take the lid off. Look at that. Doesn't look very appetizing. It's starting to smell like wine, which is good. Hang on, Zia. Oh, sweating just from that little expedition. But it's, come on. Starting to look and smell like wine. Inside, Zia, come on. I gotta shut the door. Come on, let's go. Every couple of hours, I've got to push the skins back down. And then underneath is that beautiful red wine. So I do this, I think, for the first week or so. And then I've got to siphon it out and put it into some sort of, you know, people get a keg or a barrel or whatever else they got. I have mason jars. So that's where mine are going to go. This is starting to smell really good, Han.
Yeah, between that and the sourdough, the kitchen was very yeasty this morning.
Yeah. Charlie hates it. When we find out he's celiac or whatever the yeast one is.
Yeah.
So Hannah's making...
I'm just checking on my...
Look at this. Wow.
I could almost chuck these in the... Oops. In the what? The cooker.
Cooker. Good.
I can't believe I just did that.
Anyway, with that, we should go. I've been recording for 17 and a half minutes. Hello. Hello. Where are you going? Yeah, and then Charlie. It's another thing that happened in the last 10 years. It's crazy. All right, I'm going to go because he's running outside. Goodbye.
Hey, that's pretty good.